Good morning everyone, it is Friday the 30th of July and Chris and I are reunited after a year. Last time we saw you was the West Highland Way.
The end
here,
of, yeah.
the end of the West Highland Way here in Fort William, so it seems rather appropriate that we are back to pick up where we left off, and that is to do another 5 days, but this time along the Great Glen Way.
Yes.
So for those of you who've walked this, you may have noticed that I've not started this little dialogue at the beginning, and that's because, well, the first mile isn't all that interesting, but there have been some particular highlights.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the McDonald's.
Yeah.
And the Morrison's was good.
Section 1 of the Great Glen Way is usually a 10-mile stretch from Fort William through to Gairlochie. Chris and I will be staying at Speenbridge, so that's an extra 4 miles for us, but that's going to take us through some woodlands, and there's a Commander Memorial as well. So I'm happy with the extra mileage, to be honest. I think 10 miles is just too short of a day. Right, so we're approaching the Soldiers Bridge. However, Inverlochie Castle is off to the right. Shall we go check it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look. Ooh, interesting little nook. You're right. You look annoyed.
I'm not happy now.
Why?
Well, I was surrounded by years of history and then kind of red bull. Kind of ruins the ambience a little bit.
A little bit.
It's not like people care about their environment, is
I
it?
know.
That's as far as you can get.
Oh, is it?
Well, I mean, you come up there if you want, but... Well, it says that do not climb the walls.
Yeah, but that's like a red flag. Well, it is a red flag, but to me it's like, on you go. So that has been a good solid, I'd say about an hour and a half walk coming out of Fort William. Not very scenic. I think it's safe to say if you plan on doing this walk and you're going to film, your camera's probably going to stay in your bag for a good chunk. However, now we have finally reached the canal. We are at Neptune's staircase. As you can see, it's a series of key locks that progress all the way up, and I believe essentially it allows boats to raise up and then progress onwards at sea level. So my guess is each time they open one of these locks, it floods the next section to allow the boat to raise up. I'm hoping this comes out in camera, but you can see how still the water is and just a reflection. Been a while since I've seen anything like that actually. It's very, very clear. So it's just gone at 1:25. We're less than 2 miles from Gairlochie now, and that would be the official end of the first stage of the Great Glen Way. We'll be staying in Speenbridge, however, so we'll have another 4 miles, and that would probably be quite common for anyone who's planning on staying in a hotel or a B&B, because that is essentially the nearest location to Gairlochie. And then tomorrow morning we'll walk that back and then pick up the canal from there again. And it's been absolutely lovely. It's been overcast all day, so the sun hasn't been beating down as it has been for like the past month. It's made things a lot easier, and although there is a temperature in the air, there's a nice breeze coming in as well. There's mist on the hills, and I'm sure it's going to rain at some point, but it will actually be quite refreshing when that happens. 3.5 miles to Speen Ridge now, where we'll be finishing for the day. We essentially just pick up the route tomorrow back up where we turned off at Gairloch there, at Gairlochie, and then I believe we cross over the bridge and we're walking across the other side of the canal to our destination tomorrow, which is Laggan. It is 25 past 9. We begin day 2, which runs from Gairlochie through to Laggan. Very, very short day today. Only 12 miles. Right, turning off to the left, that's a bit of a relief because this is quite a nasty little stretch. So this is, like I say, this is a relatively short day today, the shortest that we'll actually have. It's only 12 miles when we finish in Laggan, which is quite appropriate because Chris has spent a lot of the time lagging behind. No, all right. Wow, tough crowd. Very windy, but check out this view. What I wasn't expecting was how magnificent the last hour of this walk has been, walking through woodland and across the shore. And I haven't done any talking to the camera simply because it's been too windy, but we've captured amazing views. There's just mist. It's got very Lord of the Rings feel to it, doesn't it? It's
definitely. It looks like Mordor, something out of Lord of the Rings. The views are stunning.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely breathtaking. Definitely, and I don't say this lightly, just that 1 hour that we have walked has probably trumped almost every other section of every trail that I've done so far, just for sheer impact, because I wasn't expecting it. Eight miles to Laggan, and we've walking at quite a pace, so we're going to get there quite early, I believe. But it's been a thoroughly enjoyable walk.
We've actually been having a chat with a girl from the Land Forestry Commission, and she's going around picking up rubbish. And there are signs here that say, pick up after yourself, no camping, and people are still doing it. But she was very graceful about it. Unfortunately, she basically said people will be people, and that's, well, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? So just be respectful and leave no trace.
She made the point that even like starting a forest fire in the kind of glamorized way that you'll see in the movies sometimes isn't the best idea.
Yeah.
Because it can do quite a lot of damage to the soil potentially. So even thinking about basic stuff like that, if you were going camping.
So this stretch is predominantly forestry area. There's a lot of tree felling going on. Having spent the last about hour and a bit just shaded by trees coming out into the open, all of a sudden we're feeling the heat. It's that midday heat kicking in. Been on the stretch now for just over 2 hours, and by contrast to this morning, it's very, very samey. So I am getting a bit weary of it now. However, we are coming up to Kilfannon shortly, so hopefully that will give us something different to look at. That's not to say this stretch isn't pleasant, but when you see a lot of it for a long time, and there aren't really any places to rest either, then it can make you feel a bit weary, both mentally and visually as well. Just gone at 2:15 and we are coming up to our destination today, so we have made good time. We're a little bit early, so we're just gonna basically just walk around and sit for a little while before we can actually check into our B&B. Very much been a day of two halves, isn't it? This morning was great, walking alongside Loch Lochy there. Lots to see, the weather was epic, and then just this afternoon, well, literally for maybe the last 3.5 hours,
It's
just
been a bit of a slog.
Bit of a slog, quite hard on the feet as well, which I don't normally mind, but the terrain just didn't change the entire time. So yeah, kind of glad that's done with. And with that, we are off to our accommodation for today. Tomorrow we start afresh, 18.5 miles, for the first of the high routes. See you then. And it is day 3, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and we have an 18.5 mile day from South Laggan through to Inverness, and we'll be hitting Fort Augustus, which is about 10 miles in, and that's where we'll stop for a break later on today. And although there's really nothing in South Laggan, it's just a couple of locks to allow the boats to pass through. It's a lovely little place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. The place we were staying, Forest Lodge, is really, really nice.
Yep, and
the owner's really friendly.
Yep, we ate dinner at what's the name of the barge?
The Eagle Barge.
The Eagle Barge. There's a lovely little whippet there called Penny. It's Penny, isn't it?
Penny, yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to steal her, but they wouldn't let us. But it's a nice little place. Everyone knows each other. If you're staying here in B&Bs, usually the owners will just whip you back and forth to wherever you need to go. And it's been a thoroughly pleasant experience. I'm really energized today, but that could be because of the syrup sponge pudding with custard that I had last night, and I'm full of sugar, so I might be quite annoying today. I apologise in advance.
It's just like every day.
It's like every day. Yeah. Anyway, onwards. Quite a satisfying sound underfoot, actually. It has gone 10:30. We have 4 miles left to Fort Augustus, which is where we'll stop for lunch. We have made really quick progress this morning, but obviously with the high route coming up this afternoon, that will take us a bit longer, even if it is slightly shorter. It's 12:20. We have refueled, we've had our lunch, and we've just left Fort Augustus. As expected for a Sunday afternoon, it was very busy, so glad to leave that madness behind. Now we begin our journey onwards, ready to hit the high route. Not normally a fan of walking through suburban areas, but this is actually quite nice. Well, this was perfectly timed because the sun had just come out, so this immediately puts us in some shade. Well, that was a pleasant surprise to start the second part of this route. Very short-lived though. It was only about 10 minutes, but it was very welcome, perfectly timed because we could feel the heat creeping in through these trees. I have a feeling this route here isn't the start of the high route. I did hear there was a premature route and it's actually just slightly further down. I have a hunch it's this one, so Chris is just checking.
Viewpoint bench.
Okay.
Which is behind us.
Voila, okay.
And back to here.
Yeah.
Not this way.
Not this way. You never go that way. That way it'd take you all the way to the castle. Right, so it's further down, yeah. So we're, high route. Fair enough. And just like that, we come to the high route turn. See, if we just hung on 30 seconds. Great Glen Way high route to Inverness. Now we're talking. We were just discussing how quiet it's actually been. We've passed a couple of hikers today, and maybe a couple yesterday as well, but based on what I'd seen on Great Glen Way forums, it seemed like it had been fairly busy and quite active, but we're really not finding that at all, are we? It's quite a surprise, and it's
very quiet.
Gorgeous weather and it's pleasant as well, but maybe with circumstances how they are, people are opting to hop on a plane and go somewhere abroad for a change instead. But it's there is a difference between sitting on a beach or this. It's whatever takes your fancy, and this would 100% always be my choice. Chris has a fascination with the moss, so he's taking multiple pictures of the moss. I'm going to assume that this is maybe for some secret society of moss lovers, and they have like Instagrams and Facebook accounts. He's a very secretive chap, is Chris. Known him over 30 years, but you never fully know someone. Look at that moss. That is some nice moss. And now it's time to go even higher. I'm kind of sad to leave all this behind if it changes, I tell you. You see the path winds all the way up. I am very, very happy about that. really are no words to express, despite being out of breath, how peaceful this is. This is just exactly everything I hoped the high route was going to be, and I would implore anyone who's going to do the Great Glen Way to take the high route if you can. I know there'll be some people, maybe fitness wise, prefer the low route, but if you can, work towards achieving this, because my god, it's something else. Here we go, and a much needed sit down. I think that has been one amazing hour and 20 minutes, and there's still so much more to come. It's approaching 3 o'clock, and in the next half hour this will have officially been the longest day that we've spent on the trail for the Great Glen Way, and it honestly feels like it's going by so quickly. It's so slow. The more you're enjoying something, the quicker it passes by. We're now coming back down to rejoin the lower route. Enjoyment counts for everything, because this time yesterday we were just coming into Laggan after being incredibly thankful for seeing the last of that trail. But today's been a longer day, and I don't think either of us are feeling particularly tired. It's a little bit warm, but we've just had such a magnificent time walking along there. I could happily go on for another couple of hours, but I do believe we're starting to wind down towards the end now. And I'm going to take a lot of memories away from today. Even if tomorrow ends up being just as good view-wise, I think today's going to hold a special place in my heart, simply because I've not seen views like this before, and I've not experienced the trail like that before. And it's these memories that you carry with you for the rest of your life. So just taking a well-deserved seat after having come off the high route. The stretch right in front of me takes us down onto the low route, and then that joins into Inverness. I can actually hear the traffic going past, which is very jarring when you've not heard any traffic for many hours now. It's just gone, what, 4 o'clock? Close to 4 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 5 to 4.
5 to 4, yeah, so we made great time. And yeah, it's kind of weird, because this time yesterday I was really glad to be off my feet, despite the fact it was a much shorter day, and today is the complete opposite. I mean, I could actually keep going. But yeah, I think we're still full of energy as well. I mean, neither of us are like particularly hungry, even though we burnt lots of calories and energy. I don't know, it's just one of those days that has gone really, really well. So fingers crossed everything stays like that. All right, folks, we have hit Inverness, and that is a wrap for today. Tomorrow our destination is Drumnadroit. It's about 16.5 miles. So we're going to get to our accommodation and we're going to rest up, all ready for tomorrow. See you then. It is day 4 and we are departing Inverness. I have decided that today we are going to do 34 miles all the way through to the end of Inverness. Chris? Okay, 14.5 miles. A rather punishing uphill climb to get things started in the morning. Make you earn your breakfast. It's a winding path through down into the forest. And there is the viewpoint. I actually truthfully didn't expect to hit that until much later on. The view catcher, made from Caledonian pine and local stone. This eye in the sky was designed to highlight this stunning view. The flies are out in force. They have found us, they are consuming us, and they are going into my ear, which is not helpful right now. It's been a very sedate walk so far. Been walking maybe for about 90 minutes, and I'm not really feeling it yet. Maybe it's just because I've got high expectations after yesterday. But I have to confess that the view catcher, as you've just seen, I appreciate it's an iconic part of this route, but I can't really understand its placement because I didn't truthfully think the view from there was by any stretch some of the best that we've seen on this on the high route. Again, going back to how great the views were yesterday. As you can hear, I'm massively out of breath. The path pretty much starts steep coming out of Inverness, and it doesn't let up for a good couple of hours. It kind of winds up through the hills. But the views you come out to are exactly what you would hope. Absolutely amazing. We're resting up here at the stone shelter. Great views of Loch Ness behind us. That could be the last views because we're about to head into some forestry, which looks like it takes up a good chunk of today as well. We are both soaked through with sweat. That was quite the surprise. Certainly for the last 4 days, we haven't worked up that level of sweat, that's for sure. I've already got through a bottle and a half of water, which is very unlike me. Hello, Loch Ness. It's good to see you again. Much of this morning's walk has generally been about teasing you with glimpses of Loch Ness, which is peeking through the trees, and then it gives you one long lingering look before it snatches away from you again. But now, this is probably the best view that we've had of Loch Ness up close since we first saw it yesterday. It's absolutely breathtaking, and we're actually just, even though we've only just rested up about 10 minutes ago, we're going to stay here because we just need to soak this up. I mean, I honestly couldn't imagine anywhere being as quiet as it is now. It's just absolutely... You done? Seven miles left to Drum, which is ridiculous because it's like 11:30, so I can't believe we've actually, given how hard it was going uphill this morning, how quickly we've actually done that. Hello, Mr. Gate. This one has instructions, Chris. There are houses coming into view, so we are creeping back into a civilization. I really hope there is a shop because right now I could murder someone for a bottle of Lucozade. Chris, I would. It's about 20 to 2 now. We've still got a lot of time to kill. We made like really quick progress today, despite that steep ascent this morning. There was a little tea room in an area called Breathtaking, which is just 2 or 3 minutes off of the Great Glen Way there. So we basically just sat there, drank all their cans of fizzy orange because it's very warm. And now we've got 3 miles left. So we're going to head into Drum, have a look around before we go to our accommodation. So we're really just going to take this chilled and relaxed for the rest of the day. So it seems like it'll be this road solidly now for the next couple of miles. But it's a perfectly pleasant little stretch. Lots of little farmhouses off to the side. Got some livestock. There's always something interesting to see. Final day is upon us, day 5. 7 a.m. in the morning. We've got up early because we've got a 20-mile day to Inverness to wrap everything up. Feeling very, very tired this morning, and I generally haven't been suffering with that, so I'm not quite sure what was so different about yesterday. Maybe it was the half a cow and a burger with the cheese I ate last night. We do have to negotiate quite a it's about a mile stretch of the A82 as we're coming out of Drum here, so I won't be filming that because I don't want to get pancaked by a school bus going past. Alright, we are turning off to the right. Well, might be 14 by road, but it's 20 for us. Well, it's not been too bad so far. The pavement's quite narrow, but the road's been, because it's quite early, I think it's quite quiet, so it's not too... Whatever. Right, little break from the A82. This little quiet path off around the side is welcome. And we are away from the madness of the A82 finally, out into this awesome woodland, which I think takes up a good chunk of the walking for today, which I'm absolutely fine with. Now, it is 20 miles and we left early, but I don't think it's going to be a particularly strenuous walk. It seems to be quite a divisive one, however, this section. Several people who have walked the Great Glen Way have told me that for them it was a bit of a slog, and it was more a case of just pushing on and getting it done. So I'll be interested to see how I feel in a few hours, but at the moment, thoroughly enjoying it. Relatively flat route, I said. Turns out it's not the case, so I'm soaked through with sweat again. I would say the climb up today is about on par with what we went through yesterday morning, but I love that sort of stuff, you know, and I think it's better off to get it out of the way when it's cooler, first thing in the morning. He muses. Are you musing? You miss your moss, don't you? And just like that, a bit of downhill action. This would be great with a bike, actually. We are here and we're going all the way along up Great Glen Way to Inverness. So as you can see from there, the road is long with many a winding turn. As someone who wants to be able to film as much as possible, it makes it very difficult because there really isn't all that much to see. But if you're walking this trail on your own and you're listening to music, or you just want to take in the ambience of it all, then it's going to serve that purpose completely 100%. Everyone's going to take away something different from it. There we go, convenient little rest stop coming up. Have you been feeling about today so far?
It's been okay so far. I think we might have made quicker progress than I expected to.
We always seem to, don't we?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the last day of the West Highland Way. There was a lot of mileage between where were we? Blackwater and
Kinloch
yeah, at Kinloch Leven, and then Fort William, and we arrived at like 1 o'clock, way earlier than we thought we would. So I think today's probably going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, I checked the guidebook, and there's only about 4 maps left.
Well, there we go.
And it's just 10:30 now. I was kind of thinking we wouldn't rock into Inverness until like 4 or 5 o'clock afternoon, but I'm thinking we might get there by 2.
Yeah, I think
rate.
we walk a lot faster than we actually realise.
Yeah.
When I looked at the itinerary for the Great Glen Way, I actually thought 4 days would be enough because those first couple of days are relatively short. But now having walked them, I realised that 5 days is absolutely perfect because it gives you more time to spend on days 3 and 4 on those high routes and in the forestry areas that essentially bookend that whole section. The more time you spend there, the more enjoyment you will get out of it. If you rush through it, then I think you're missing what truly makes this walk unique. Would you walk it again?
Potentially, I would do the whole thing again, but I think I'm more likely to come back and do, for us, what was sections 3 and 4, which is from Fort Augustus,
the high routes,
to where we stayed last night, Drum the Droich.
Yeah.
Because that's the most stunning part of the trail. The first 2 sections are fine, but there's a whole lot of canal before you get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how controversial this will be.
Oh.
I think the trail should start really in Banavi. Is that?
Oh, just at the start of the canal there.
Yeah. If that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Where the trail intersects with the Caledonian Canal, the first 3 miles coming out of Fort William is pretty grim.
Yeah, it's pretty grim.
It's a pretty sad and sorry start for the
Yeah.
trail.
Yeah.
And in terms of the preparation for the journey, is there anything you would have done differently?
This has become a Q&A. In preparation. Well, so say something like the West Highland Way that we did this time last year, okay? We just planned that from scratch ourselves. It was our own itinerary and we were going to take our bags with us and we had the tent and everything. And then things like plans changed a couple of days beforehand and we had to kind of adapt to that. Whereas this was a trip that was essentially replacing the Tour du Mont Blanc. So everything in terms of accommodation itinerary were already set because we went through Max Adventures and they've done a very good job actually. So we're working to itinerary and it's, we've not really had to worry about too much about what we've taken luggage wise, so.
That's true. On this occasion we knew from the outset that we were getting a bag transported along the way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Obviously you need to be prepared when you're out on the trail as well, but we seem to have this remarkable luck of just always having good weather, don't we?
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, even the West Highland Way only really rained on that last day. So, while I've packed, I've got waterproofs on me and everything, we haven't really needed it. And yeah, you should always be prepared for this stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of like you're carrying this extra weight knowing that you're not going to need it because every single day that we've had has been a scorcher. Of all the locations that we've experienced on this trip, my favourite was actually Laggan. Because, there's nothing really there, right? It's just a couple of locks to let the boats go through, and obviously the Eagle Barge where we ate, and then you've got like a handful of B&Bs in the area. But there's kind of like a family vibe there because all the businesses know each other and they all kind of work to each other's beat, and they'll run us back and forward to the barge, for your breakfast. And it's a very, very small area. But having come off that really just annoying stretch there that I didn't enjoy at all, it was just a nice little friendly kind of patch, and it was so quiet, and you could just sit there and just look out over the loch. It was very, very peaceful, and everyone is just ridiculously friendly there, aren't they? So yeah, I mean, you couldn't really live there because there's not much in the area, and I think everyone who does live there is predominantly running a B&B or working on the barge there and opening the locks. But it would certainly a place to consider retiring if you fancy running a B&B, I think.
Yeah, the Eagle Barge was lovely.
It was,
very,
yeah.
Very nice place.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. If you're doing the 5-day itinerary and you want an amazing dinner, book in at the Eagle Barge because you get to meet Penny as well, the resident dog. She's lovely, but she'll probably want your food as well. And they've just decked this barge out, and it's just a really, really nice atmosphere. I think there's maybe like a few locals in there that kind of work in the area, and the food is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we've just left that stretch of woods and now we have tarmac coming up for the next few miles. So this is going to be a feet killer. It's off on his own. It's alright, Chris. It's fine. You just carry on. It's alright. Your little tiny backpack and your beige. Alright, we're starting to see some change of scenery. Much needed. And lots of flies. Just coming up to 1 o'clock, we are on the Drovers Road, which goes on for quite some time. How did the book describe it?
It feels like the road never ends.
This is actually turning out to be a nice little spot. And just like that, without warning, Inverness pops into view. Alright folks, we are mere minutes away from hitting the city centre of Inverness. So I'm going to wrap this up here because I imagine it's going to be too noisy to be able to properly do a closing statement once we get into the town. It's been an awesome 5 days. Every day has brought a different surprise. There's been high points and low points, but certainly the high points or the high routes have vastly outweighed the low ones. And it's been a heck of an experience and one to tick off the list. Chris, any parting words?
I recommend the trail. If you're thinking about doing it, if you have any doubts, don't hesitate. It's really, really good. The sights are amazing. Yeah, I totally recommend it.
Yeah, well said, and I concur with all of that. So, let's get down into the city centre. This walk ends at Inverness Castle, so we shall see you there soon.